Consistent with the rules of the Travis County Democratic Party, we commit to an environment that is free from harassment, abuse, and violence in all activities and interactions. Thank you. I'd like to start out by recognizing some of the folks in this group who have kind of taken an extra step, run for office, and won. So our elected officials, as we start on this side of the room, we have Councilman Ceasar Ruiz from Pflugerville, School Trustee Jean Mayer, the Mayor, Doug White, one of our esteemed judges, Maggie Ellis. I'm scanning. If you're elected, raise your hand. Oh, and over. Oh, and another school trustee, Claudia Yanez. Another school trustee, Siobhan Lorigo-Dos. Our district attorney for Travis County, Jose Garza. And a candidate who we'll hear from in just a moment, who I know really is going to be our new House District Representative, Samantha Lopez-Resendez. So, and another candidate, Alexandria Anderson, who's running for District 1 in I'd like to start the program this morning. We've been putting a focus here in our club meetings this summer on different communities that make Pflugerville the place that we call home, that we are very proud to say is one of the most diverse communities in all of Central Texas. When I moved here, my daughter said to me, "Mom, I live in this precinct in Chicago that is the most ethnically diverse precinct anywhere in the United States." I said, "Well, you have to come to Pflugerville. You don't have anything on us." She has now been a resident for 15 years. So she came, she liked it too. We love what it does to our community in opening our horizons, giving us insight into slightly different points of view, sometimes really different points of view, and makes us better people for having those conversations. So this month we are focusing on our Hispanic community, and I'm always reminded when I say a community that it is made up of a huge spectrum of people in all different ways of life who look at being part of that community from their own point of view. But we'd like to start this morning talking about how what's going on in the state, in the city, thank you, is affecting our particular community of folks who identify as being part of the Hispanic community. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Ceasar Ruiz, who I met the very first time I met him. He was opening up the Lions Club for me because I was an election judge. At that point, you know how you have those gut feelings about people? Well, my gut feeling was, this is a great guy. And he's proven me correct every time I've had an interaction with him. I really enjoy watching him when he's on the dais with his insightful comments and the way he thinks about what's going on in our community. So, Councilman Ruiz.
Thank you very much. So first, I'm going to apologize if I get this mad look on my face, because every now and then, especially when I talk about the things that we're passionate about in this room, it gets me angry, because I'm angry at the way the Republicans are treating our people. For me, well, first off, I want to thank you for having me here. My name is Ceasar Ruiz. I am on City Council. Father, future husband, Texan, veteran, American. Those are all things that encapsulate me. But what gives me passion for the people I ran because I wanted to help people, not because I wanted a certain position or I wanted to get things done or, for certain groups. I ran because I wanted to represent everybody. So if you'll excuse me, I did write some things down because I had so much to say and Tammy only gave me 7 minutes. So I have to try to encapsulate everything into a small group. But I stand before you today humble. I'm the prodigal son has returned. I was born and raised a Democrat, father, family, everybody Democrat. About 10 years ago, I lost my way and I started batting for the other team. But as a prodigal son, you all have welcomed me back with open arms. Most of you. Most of you have. You said, okay, you messed up, but you're back. And here, I can tell you today, I am more passionate about our Democrat values than I have ever been in my entire life. It's time we rise up, it's time we stand up, and it's time we take Texas back from those Republicans who have had control for well over 25 years. Can you imagine that? 25 years of oppressing people. 25 years of saying that you are not an American just because you want to be or because you were born somewhere else. That's to use Rudy Mateer's word, that's repugnant, as he usually says. I say all of this because for me, this meeting is more than just a regular Democrat meeting. Rather, it's a call to action and a beginning towards a future we all deserve. A future without racism. A future where everybody can be free to be who they want to be. A future where educators are no longer under attack by our state. And more importantly, a future where Democrats rise up together, take back Texas, and run this state like it needs to be run. Seriously, you should clap for that one. Because that's what I'm passionate about. It needs to happen. How do we get there? Well, first and foremost, it is imperative that we work together. There are so many people in this room who, yes, absolutely, right? Because there are so many people who have passion for our Democrat causes, but they don't like it when somebody else gets in their way or comes up with a better idea. People, this has to stop. There's another organization, Democrat organization here in Pflugerville. They want to do wonderful things, but we will not take back Texas or Pflugerville if we continue to divide ourselves. We must stand united or surely we will fall. United we stand, divided we fall. We will fall separately. So as a Hispanic Texan, I come from a community built on hard work, faith, family, and resilience. Our story is woven to the history of this state. Hispanic Texans have served in every major American conflict, built businesses, worked the land, taught our children, and strengthened our community. We're not newcomers to the story. We are the fabric of its foundation. So why do I specifically mention Hispanics in Texas? Well, as we said, we have Hispanics here. We have our esteemed district attorney, our future state representative. We have Representative of ALMA here and some others, and myself. So I think it's befitting that we go ahead and mention, I lost my space here. It's befitting that necessary to briefly talk about what's happening to Hispanics in our community. So for those of you who don't know, I read a recent statistic that said PfADC has more Hispanics in its district than any other ethnicity. And as we continue to grow, we are fast becoming the number one, almost the number one ethnicity in Pflugerville in general. Hispanics here, we're rising. I used to joke around, tell a lot of my friends back when I was in the military, we're going to take over. You watch. But it is necessary to continue fighting and voicing and demanding our seat back at the table. It's necessary that we stand up together with your help and get these things happening because at the Capitol, they're just dismissing us. I've been there. They don't care about things. Actually, there are Republicans who think that racism is good for our economy. It is good for our people. It is good for the future of America. Again, to use Rudy's word, that is absolutely repugnant. And there are people on our dais in Pflugerville who believe that. Now, they may get mad at me saying that, but we know. I know, he's over here, I see the mayor, he's whispering the words. But for me, again, this is a rally call. We must stand together. I can tell you, Mayor Gonzalez and I have been talking quite a bit about this. And we've decided that it is time that we start doing things in Pflugerville to help our politically driven people, Democrats, win the seat. It is imperative that we help keep DA Garza, I was going to say Gonzalez. I have Garzas and Gonzalez's in my family, so I apologize. It is imperative that we help you win state representative. And I ask that when you do, please don't forget Pflugerville. We have too many people in higher positions who only show up for photo ops, and we need your help here. We need help at the Capitol. I mean, so many unnecessary bad things are happening out there. I say this because leadership is about taking the reins, even when it's uncomfortable, walking beside the people. And if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. So I tell you, and I stand here before you today, I will walk the walk. We are going to organize here in Pflugerville, even harder than we have been. And I can tell you this from being on the other side, you know what scares Republicans the most is the fact that we are organized. They hate it because everybody over there wants to be a chief and they don't want to be a worker. They hate the fact that the Democrats can organize so well and so fast and they can take over an area. Now they're going to use hateful rhetoric all they want, but you know, at the end of the day, who do we stand for? Each other, right? Now I can go on a side diatribe right now and I can tell you how horrible the president is and how horrible the governor is and all these other things. And you know what? Those are all true. I can tell you they are systematically trying to remove a group of people here in Texas simply because they're afraid that those people are going to vote Democrat. How horrible is that? We want them all out of here because they're going to vote Democrat someday. How horrible. It's despicable. We can't let those Republicans oppress us any longer. And to be quite honest, again, speaking for myself, I believe many of us in leadership positions are actually getting tired of those others in leadership positions who don't want to represent Texas. This is why I beg you, I appeal to you, because you will be our next state representative, right? Because it is important that we do everything we can to ensure that our Democrat candidates get elected. This isn't just a request anymore. It's necessary. The governor and lieutenant governor of all their cronies have been bought out, and they would do anything and everything they can to destroy us. The future of Texas doesn't belong to one political party, and I want to say that from the top of my pulpit. It does not belong to the Republicans. Being good Americans do not belong to the Republicans, and they believe that. They believe that when we fall, we will all fall, and they're going to take over and everything else. Are we going to stand for that? No, we're not. As a veteran, I can tell you freedom comes with responsibility. I've seen the price that others have paid for this freedom. Sorry. As a Hispanic, I know diversity is the strength that bonds our nation together. As a Democrat, I believe progress is possible, and quite frankly, it's inevitable. As a Texan, I know when we work together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Because you know what? Sorry to all you. Well, I'm not sorry. You know what? Texans get the job done. So if I offended anybody, sorry, but not sorry. So today I ask each and every one of us to reject the politics of hate and embrace the politics of service. Let us remember that before we are Democrats, we are all Americans. As a great man once said, President Obama, we are the one we've been waiting for. Again, I want to thank you all for allowing me to be here today. My name is Ceasar Ruiz. I am on City Council here in Pflugerville. I'm a father to Sarah, Ruby, and James. James, my son, special needs right there, nonverbal autistic. I'm the future husband to Jean and future stepfather to Rory and McKenna. I'm an American, a veteran, and a Texan. And I am proud to call myself a Democrat. So thank you all for having me here today. Thank you all for being here and embracing our policies and our needs. God bless you. God bless Texas, and God bless the United States of America. I am running for re-election. So if I have just a little bit of time, to speak to that, yes. We have 3 seats coming up. Rudy Mateer, Councilman Mateer, is terming out, so that seat's going to be open. There are some people running for that who've already announced that they haven't announced, but they've already spoken about their running. I'm pretty sure I'm going to draw somebody named Alan, Sam Alley. I'm pretty sure I'm going to draw him just because the Republicans don't like me very much. We have David Rogers who's running. I'll just say it. Sorry, Melody. I think he needs to go. I think it's time for somebody to run against him. And the sad thing is, people don't. They've let him run unopposed, and we need somebody. We need to rally somebody who can beat him to run against him. He's going to get mad at me all he wants. That's fine. But we need people on that dais who are there to serve everybody, not just one party, but everybody in Pflugerville. And yes, August, I'm going to work hard as I can to annex the villages of Hidden Lakes. But, you know, I think the mayor might have a few things to say about that. But again, yes, we do have an election coming up in November, and it is important. You know, I really hope somebody would run against David Mark. But, you know, and, you know, if anybody else is going to run, I'd love for y'all to announce it today. But yes, the time to put your name on the ballot is going to come up not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. It's usually lands on a Saturday, but we're not going to be open on that Saturday to put your name, correct, Mayor?
Monday morning, 8 a.m.
Monday morning, 8 a.m. So if you can do it, come on out. If you need my help, let's do it. Thank you.
It's always good to know that the city is in the hands of people who are passionate about our community. Going to take just a moment away from the program. I noticed that we have another council member here, Melody Ryan. And now I'd like to move from city to county and introduce our district attorney, who I met when he first ran. I had the pleasure of working with his wife at one of the polling places. I didn't get to know him as well, but his wife is lovely. And I just discovered today that he is part of a group of progressive district attorneys that started a group that fascinated me because it's FAFO, yes? I got it right. I wanted to say FOFA, and yes, so now I've forgotten what it is, but the part that I do remember was that it's against federal overreach, and that's always a good thing. So without further ado, I will introduce our district attorney, Jose Garza, who will explain those things much better than I can.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Pflugerville Democrats. How's everyone doing? It is my privilege to be with you. Don't tell the good people of the city of Austin, but this is my favorite city in Travis County. And there's so many wonderful reasons why, but I'm thrilled to be with you this morning, and I'm thrilled to be with you to help celebrate our Latino, our Hispanic community and culture throughout the county and throughout the state, and to celebrate all of us as Americans, because the truth is that the story of the Latino community in this state and in this community is not so different from the story of the African American community, of the Irish community, of the German community. Every single story of every community is unique and has had its own challenges. Most have had many challenges in the history of this country, and our triumphs are unique, but they are also, I think, collective. And an enormous part of what makes Travis County special, what makes Texas special, and what makes this country special. My story is probably not dissimilar from many of yours. My great-grandparents were refugees to this country. They fled Mexico in the turn of the 20th century to escape a revolution. And I won't say that this country welcomed them, but it certainly did not turn them away. And because it didn't turn them away, both of my grandparents served in World War II, and they had a deep belief in the promise of this country, in the promise of what it meant to grow up and to be an American. They instilled those values and that belief in my parents, who instilled those beliefs in me. And we have done our best to live a life of service to this country, because we know how much we have been able to thrive as a result of the promise of this country. But something has changed. Something has changed dramatically in the last 4 years. As I said at the outset, I won't go so far as to say that my family was welcomed. I'm not sure how many families were welcomed when they came to the United States. Every culture, every ethnicity, every race who has come to this country has experienced hardship and discrimination, some far more deep and disgusting than others, but nonetheless, it has been a common thread of our shared story. But as I said, something even more sinister has arisen in the last 4 years, because now what it feels like is happening on our streets every day is that the Latino community, the Hispanic community, is being hunted on our streets. They are being hunted by law enforcement without badges, who wear masks to conceal their identity. Sometimes they are hunted in plain sight by Texas DPS, who has contributed some of the most staggering numbers of arrests and deportations in our state and in our community over the last several months. And I want to tell you, although I am sure it is obvious to you, I want to just tell you some of the reasons why these practices are deeply un-American and harmful to our public safety. First of all, when people are afraid to call law enforcement, that is bad for all of us. It means that they are less willing to report crimes when they see them. It means they are less willing to participate in the justice system to ensure that people are held accountable when they commit crimes. And when people aren't willing to participate in our justice system, that makes all of us less safe. But as I said, these practices and strategies don't just make us less safe. They are also deeply un-American. They are antithetical to the values of this country. But the good news is, it doesn't have to be this way, right? All of us in this room, although it feels daunting, although sometimes it feels impossible, all of us in this room have the power to change this. We've got some important elections that are coming up in November, and I'm going to talk about those in just a second. But before I do, I want to tell you about just some of the few ways that your leaders here in Travis County are working to fight against these injustices, are working to fight against these policies that make us less safe. First of all, at the Travis County District Attorney's Office, above all else, we do our best to honor victims and to ensure that all victims of crime feel welcome in our office, regardless of their race, ethnicity, regardless of their legal status in this country. And so when I took office in 2020, one of the first things we did was to make sure that our U visa process was easy to understand and accessible. And let me tell you what that is. If you don't have status to be in this country, but you are the victim of a crime, you can apply for status so that you can participate in the criminal justice system. Not many folks know this, but the district attorney's office is what's called a certifying agency. So we have the unique responsibility and power to be able to tell the federal government, this person here, this person is a victim of crime and they should not be deported. They should have status to stay in this country. Over the last 6 years, we have processed U visa application for countless victims of crime to help make sure that all victims feel welcome in our office. We have also done our best to prosecute the kinds of crimes that destabilize all working people, but the Latino community in particular. In 2022, we launched what we referred to as an economic justice enforcement initiative. We have dedicated prosecutors in our office who prosecute employers who steal wages from their workers. The overwhelming majority of victims of these crimes are undocumented. They are the most vulnerable amongst us. And let me just take a second here. Although it is not my lane, I am honored to be your district attorney. We have to talk about the incredible value that the Latino community, documented or undocumented, provides to our economy every single year. Upwards of 30% of the construction industry in the state of Texas is undocumented. Upwards of 20% of our retail industry in the state of Texas is undocumented. Some of the most vulnerable members of our community are also the people who make up the engine of our economy. And so we have a responsibility, from my perspective, to protect everyone, but of course to protect the most vulnerable particularly. And so over the last several years, I am proud that we have won back millions of dollars in back wages for hardworking people whose wages were stolen. We have secured a conviction of a corporation for the first time in over 20 years in this county because they had such unsafe conditions on their work site that it literally led to the death of an undocumented worker on their job site. And at the Travis County District Attorney's Office, we will not tolerate that kind of disregard for people who work. But finally, thank you. You know, in this moment, it is strange to say that those challenges feel small compared to the challenge of the weight of the federal government, as I said, literally hunting members of our community on our streets. And as I said before, it is easy in these moments to feel powerless. But I wanted to remind you that we have tremendous power. There is tremendous power in this room. Our power comes from our unique talents, from our perseverance, but it also comes from our unity, from our willingness to work together and to be bigger and more than we are as individuals. And so it is why I was proud to join along with other district attorneys from across the country to start an organization called PfADC, which is the fight against federal overreach. Now, I have to just give you a quick aside. My colleague, who I have to give a lot of credit for getting us together, is a guy named Larry Krasner. He's the district attorney in Philadelphia. And one of the reasons I love Larry is because he has never met a fight that he does not like. And so many of you may have heard of another acronym for PfADC. I think that was intentional. But the goal and the message is that what happened in the streets of Minneapolis, what happened in the streets of Chicago and Los Angeles can never be permitted to take place in the streets of Austin, can never be permitted to take place in the streets of communities where PfADC district attorneys work and live. And so what we've been doing for over the last 9 months is, one, being absolutely clear that any violation of state law that is perpetrated by federal agents here in Travis County, if a federal agent, an ICE agent, commits an illegal home invasion, shoots someone, heaven forbid, kills someone, they will be prosecuted in this community and they will be held accountable. But we also, this has to be more than just words. We have to be prepared to protect our community. And so over the last several months, we have been working through the intricacies of what it would take to prosecute a federal agent. It is not the same as prosecuting a member of this community. And so we have done that work. We are ready, although I hope that never happens in this community. And we are currently preparing to make sure that our elections in November are safe, secure, and protected from federal overreach. I probably don't have to remind you that the sitting Attorney General has openly talked about the idea of ICE agents at our polls. The current Secretary of Defense, that's what we're going to stick with. The current Secretary of Defense has openly mused about the idea of United States military personnel at our polls. We are working hard to be prepared here in Travis County to ensure that nothing like that happens, and that if it does, the people who participate in that kind of intimidation and attempt to interfere with our elections will be prosecuted and held accountable. And we so badly need some accountability in this country. For too long, the president and his cronies throughout the administration and the Congress and here in the state of Texas have escaped accountability. But I believe that there is a reckoning coming in November when at least some of those bills and those crimes and those sins are going to come due. But that is only going to happen if everyone in this room is willing to put in the work that it's going to take. It means knocking on doors. It means making phone calls. It means contributing a little bit when we can to make sure our candidates can get over the finish line. This is some of the hardest working folks in the county right here in this room. And so I have every confidence that we are going to do that. And if we do, I am absolutely confident that we're going to win a United States Senate seat in the state of Texas. And if we do that, everything is possible, right? So are you guys ready to put the work in to win in November? Yeah. All right. We are going to do this work in November to honor the most vulnerable members of our community. We're going to honor the Latino community. We're going to honor the Black community. We are going to honor the working class members of our community. We are going to honor every person who has been left behind over the last 4 years. And in November, we will win for them. You guys ready to do it? All right. Thank you guys so much.
And moving from county to state, I'd like to introduce a woman who, when she first appeared for Pflugerville Democrats and spoke, when I talked about that gut feeling you get about people, here's another one. I went, she's the one. And she was in a very crowded race. She ran a fantastic campaign. She had some great opponents who also probably would have been very good in the state legislature, but not as good as she's going to be. So I welcome our endorsed candidate, Samantha Lopez-Resendez.
Thank you. Good morning, I guess. Yeah, still morning, right? Good morning, y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me and for being here this morning. My name is Samantha Lopez-Resendez. I'm so proud and honored to be the Democratic nominee for House District 50 right here in Travis County and including Pflugerville. It's been the honor of my life just to be able to meet voters, constituents within House District 50, hear their stories, and share how I can help. But y'all, I would be lying if I said my heart wasn't heavy this morning. It's incredibly heavy. This entire week, it's been very heavy. What happened out in Houston with Lorenzo Salgado is incredibly heartbreaking because what has happened in the streets of Minnesota have reached our state here. And I refuse to accept that reality. I refuse. Lorenzo Salgado had kids that wanted to go to college, that were going to college, that were American citizens, that were here just to literally live, to exist, to do good in this world. And yet he was gunned down in the streets of Houston. I want to take a step back and tell y'all a little bit more about me and my upbringing and where my family comes from. So my parents, I'm a proud daughter of immigrants. My parents immigrated here. My father, when he was a really young child with nothing but the clothes on his back, and his 2 parents and his 7 other sisters. And they all moved to Florida, where my father became a migrant worker. So my father picked up vegetables off the ground in that hot Florida sun pretty much his whole life up until he was 19 years old. And that's when he decided there has to be more than this to the American dream. And he told my grandfather that, and my grandfather said, if you want to go find better, go for it. This is the country to do it in. And my dad did that. He ended up moving to Texas, getting a job, getting his GED, getting a job with the federal government, and working 35 years for the federal government. He did all the right things that you're supposed to do when you come here, right? And I know that I am the product of their American dream. My mother became a US citizen in 2016, just 10 years ago, after living most of her life here in the US as a US resident. She never bothered to vote. She thought, I don't need to. Now that her daughter's in politics, she absolutely realizes how important it always was to be a participant and active voter. But the thing is this, when my parents came here, they didn't think that they would automatically be welcomed and accepted, just like D.A. Garza's family. They knew it was going to take a lot of work, a lot of resiliency, and a lot of strength. And that's what they did. I wouldn't be here in front of y'all today had it not been for the bravery of my parents. And that's who Mr. Salgado in Houston was. Brave enough to take that leap to come to another country where he didn't know the language, create a family, and ensure that his family was going to have a sustainable life. That's what the American dream is all about. That is what this country was founded upon. And now we are looking towards our legislators in the state house talking about deputizing our local law enforcement so that they can also begin hunting down our own community. It's absurd. It's hurtful. It's repugnant, as Rudy Mateo says. And it really breaks my heart because I saw how hard my parents worked just to be able to provide a public education, the ability to go to a public education, the ability to go to college, the ability to take out student loans, because even then, immigrants believe it's a blessing that you're able to even take out student loans so that you can go to school. That's the kind of reality that immigrants live in. We're just so grateful for what we are given, that when we get here, we do what we can with what we are given. But y'all, I'm tired. I am tired of turning on the news and seeing another story around the country talking about how we don't belong, or Latino or African American communities, our Indian communities, our Arab communities, and talking about how they don't belong. Absolutely not. This is why this moment and this year matters so much. I'm going to take it back to my primary election. As Carol said and mentioned, I had a 6-way primary race. And I won outright. Our campaign won outright without a runoff. And everyone asked, yes, that. How in the world did you do that? I had one goal this election in the primary. And my campaign manager, when I told him that what my goal was, he said, yeah, let's pick a different goal. And I said, absolutely not. That goal was to expand the electorate. And we did that. From 11,000 voters that only participated in our primary election and previous elections, to this primary election, we had 22,000 voters participate in House District 50. That doesn't happen on accident. It happens because we have fantastic candidates like James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett who are on the ballot, and it brought out a lot of folks. But it also happened because I prioritized knocking on doors that had never been knocked before. I prioritized talking to folks in Spanish in our community because if we didn't know, House District 50, 50% of our community speak another language other than English at home. And about 49% of our district is Latino/Hispanic, so we can infer that that other language is Spanish. And sure enough, I definitely learned that really quick, that our community is so Spanish language driven. And I was so elated to be able to knock on those doors, speak to them in their native language, them be surprised and say, I had never had anyone politically involved ever come knock on my door, much less the candidate, and speak to me in my language and ask me what is important to me and how I can help. And that to me felt like I was in the right place at the right time, because that is what is going to get Democrats elected in November. Expanding the electorate, talking to your neighbors. Y'all, I had so many stories where I went up to a door and I knocked and nobody was home, but then I turned around and they had their landscapers out on their yard, working. And I would just turn around and talk to them in Spanish and say, hey, well, where do y'all live? What's going on? What's important to you? And again, so happy to have those conversations with our campaign because they were so ready to finally have someone reaching out to them in those communities and bring them out. So I'm so proud of our campaign for doing that, prioritizing that, and I'm so happy that we were able to accomplish near doubling our voter participation in House District 50. So snaps to that one more time, please. Thank you. So all in all, what I want to convey this morning is if y'all have neighbors, y'all have family members, y'all have your grocery store cash registers and anyone that helps you, anyone that helps in any store, just talk to them. I know politics is really difficult to talk about, but what's happening in our democracy is not American. And it's not what this country was founded upon. So we can begin to talk about those things. I had conversations with Republicans on the campaign trail, and they were genuinely surprised to hear some of the things that I had to say. Not because it was in line with their values, but because they slowly realized that their values actually align with our party, right? Not wasting taxpayer dollars, that's important to them. And yet our Republican Party performs redundant performative acts at the state legislature time and time after again, only to leave us without accessible health care, with public schools closing, and without the next generation being able to purchase a home. All those three things were things that I heard on the campaign trail and I want to continue to work on, but I cannot do it without a majority Democratic Texas House. And that is what I want to accomplish. I want to flip the Texas House. I'm going up to help Chris Jimenez up in Round Rock to make sure that he flips that seat. I'm going down to Houston in September to help Tyler Smith beat Lacey Hull up in Harris County. And I'm going down to San Antonio to help Zach Dunn beat Mark LaHood and Christian Carranza, who I believe she's not going up against incumbent because the incumbent Republican ran for Congress and lost. So Democratic Christian Carranza, I believe that she will be our next representative out of San Antonio as well. But that is the type of things that I will prioritize, electing individuals that are actually going to be doing the work across the state, but I can't do it alone. So talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to literally every single person that you meet and bring them out to vote in November and let them know how important this moment in democracy really is. Thank y'all so much. Again, my name is Samantha Lopez-Resendez. Feel free to follow me along on all social media. It's my full name, or SamanthaForTexas.com. Thank y'all so much.
And now moving to an organization that is above and beyond politics. And I have to apologize, Marcia. Somehow I left the A off your name. Okay, she said it's okay. I just noticed it and I feel so bad. I should learn to proofread a little better again. So Marcia and I run into each other all the time because she's with the Pflugerville Education Association, who graciously allow us to use a room in their office. So if you've all been to our office, we're in the door on the left with the donkey on the door. But Marcia is an educator in our community. She works really hard for the staff, and therefore she works really hard for the students. And I hear you just got elected president of this new group called ALMA, and you're going to tell us all about it now.
All right, yes, my name is Marcia Munoz. I'm a second grade teacher at Highland Park Elementary. I've been in Pflugerville for 20 years, and I was previously in Austin for 6 years at T.A. Brown, the best school in town. And I hear they added College Bound now. So yeah, I'm here to talk a little bit about ALMA, which is Advancing Latino Minds Through Action. ALMA was created with a simple but powerful purpose to build civic voice, confidence, and leadership through inclusive, culturally rooted spaces that bring people together and inspire action. We believe that a stronger community begins when residents feel connected, informed, and empowered to make a difference. Our vision is a Pflugerville where every voice is heard, every culture is celebrated, every person's dignity is recognized, and every resident is empowered to lead. So I do actually want to kind of start out by recognizing some of the founding members who had a vision and they brought that vision to fruition, and here we are today. So we have our school board trustee here, Claudia Yanez. I think everyone knows our other trustee, Charlie Torres. He's not here today with us. Mr. Torres. And then Dr. Alma Gonzalez de Castillo. So these three had a vision, like I said, and they got together and they made things happen. And they're amazing leaders in our community. And we're definitely grateful to be on this journey with them. And as we begin this journey, Alma will focus on community engagement, leadership development, civic education and awareness, cultural celebration and connection, building partnerships that strengthen Pflugerville. So yes, I am the president. I'm very honored to be the president. I can tell you a little bit about why I accepted the position or made the decision to be in this position. Growing up, I'm sorry guys, my mouth is a little dry here. Okay, all better. All right, so, all right, for me, growing up, I never really felt that I belonged. I'm Mexican American, but I never really felt Mexican enough, and I never really felt American enough. So, like Abraham Quintanilla, it tells his family, his Selena, and his siblings, we have to prove to the Mexicans how Mexican we are, and we have to prove to the Americans how American we are. We have to be more Mexican than the Mexicans and more American than the Americans. It's exhausting. And really, it is. And you know, I've been told many times by our Spanish-speaking parents, and most recently on my trip to Puerto Vallarta, we spent time talking to the Uber drivers. I did, and I loved every second of it. But I always hear, your Spanish is great. I'm like, yeah, I'm bilingual. But actually, you know what? I just thought about it. I've never been told your English is great. I'm kidding. It's good. It's good. So, yeah. So I had an amazing time in Puerto Vallarta. But so, all right. So here, I did find the sense of belonging when I started teaching at TA Brown in Austin. It was a wonderful community. I was there for 6 years, and now I'm at Highland Park, and I've been there the last 20 years. And again, it's an amazing community. We actually have 3 council members whose children have come through our doors. So we have Mr. Mateer, Mr. Ceasar, and Miss Melody, right over here. All right, so I'll tell you a little more story about how I kind of found the belonging, my space, my place. So it was our second year at Highland Park, 2007. We had some friends who came from Zavala Elementary in Austin. And this second year, we had our first diversity night. So that night, there was a dance group, ballet folklorico group from Zavala who came and performed. And I'm like amazed, they're elementary kids. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can do this, we can do this. And all I thought was, you know, we can have our own group dance at all of our diversity nights, right? So I was like, all right, we'll do it. So we did. I started with some kids. I had never danced a day in my whole life. And so I had a comadre who actually had a connection at St. Edward's. The person in charge of their ballet folklorico. So we kind of paid a visit, and she kind of showed us some little basic steps and gave us a little, you know, history, some tips. And we taught the kids the Mexican hat dance. Da-da, 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 da-da. Right? So that's what we started with. And then after that performance, I thought, I'm gonna have to do something better. And so I joined Round Rock Ballet Folklorico. And I danced with Miss Yolanda Sanchez for 6 years. 6 years. And then I eventually moved on with Guzman Ballet Folklorico, Walter Guzman, and I'm currently with him still a few years later. And he's been amazing. He always supports our group. So for me, again, that's kind of how we got started, right? So I have immersed myself in our culture through learning dance as much as I could about each of the regions, taking workshops. Ms. Jimenez and myself, another teacher, we actually just did a one-day workshop in Irving, Texas. It was $50. It was a steal. But they were teaching 5 of the 6 Huasteco regions. So 5 different states, right? And so the states were Veracruz, Tamaulipas, San Luis Potosí, Hidalgo, and Querétaro. Puebla is the last region we didn't learn. So again, for me, teaching at Highland Park and being immersed in the culture through Folklorico is what helped me feel that I do belong and that I can embrace and be proud of both cultures. I am Mexican enough. I am American enough. And actually, if I could just point out really quickly, a slice of Pflugerville, which has happened in the community the last 3 years, I believe, was actually started and was actually modeled after the Highland Park Diversity Night. And so thanks to Mr. Ruiz and Mr. Mateo, we have that in the community. So now we also have ALMA. And we invite you guys along on this journey with us to engage with us and be part of the growing movement. We recently had a meeting yesterday, just yesterday, and we had some community members sign up, and they have agreed to help us plan for an event that we will be having September 21st? The 11th, sorry. We'll get the information out to you, don't worry. So yes, September 12th, it's all coming back to me. So September 12th, and we'll have a kind of a kickoff to Hispanic Heritage Month. And we'll, again, give you guys more details. If anyone is interested in helping us plan and helping us get ready for this event, you guys can contact us. You guys can contact us. If you need, maybe contact Tammy, and she can get you our contact information. Also, if you go on Facebook, there is an ALMA Facebook page. Just search ALMA Pflugerville, and that will pop up for you. And that, of course, has all the information. And our next meeting is going to be August 1st. And we're hoping to have it at Wawasco. Has anyone been to Wawasco Grill here by Pizza Hut? No? Yeah? You guys have to try it. It's really good, right? Yeah, it's really good. So they're a family from Michoacan. And so, we will be there. And we hope, again, that you guys can join us. And if anyone is interested in helping us plan, we would definitely love that. And thank you guys for having us. Oh, yeah. So what event was this? Yeah.
That was the
Oh, the Pflugerville.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you can't put me on the stage and not have me like, I was like, a stage? I'm like, I'm kidding. All right, thank you guys. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm very happy to have heard all of those different voices, and I feel inspired. So I think I will be joining that planning. Thank you. We're moving on to old business. So the approval of the minutes. The minutes are online. There's an abbreviated version of them on the back of the agenda. I apologize, but we have such a detail-oriented secretary that I am trying to condense her minutes, but I wanted from last month to leave the part about the program as fully represented in the minutes as possible because there was such good information. So if you need the rest of the information, there is a link on there to our public documents and you can read through them. Having said that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Dennis. And a second from Allison. Thank you. Are there any objections to accepting the minutes as written? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Membership report from our Vice President, Tammy Cheatham.
Hi, everybody. So today we got our 203rd member join today. So I decided I'm going to make my go really ambitious. Y'all don't laugh at me. I'm going to say 250 by the end of the year. I think we got some good things coming up. We're going to get a lot of new members, so that's my new goal. And what everyone to keep in mind, we will be doing endorsements at the September meeting. If you want to vote to endorse your favorite school board member or city council person, you would need to join by the August 8th. So that is the deadline. So make sure you join. If you don't know how to join, you can see me after. We do have QR codes up here. They're on the agenda. And if you prefer not to do online, I have forms on the table back here so that you can, or if you want to check with me and make sure you're up to date, I can do that as well.
All right. And what do your membership dues pay for? Well, we're going to move to the financial report.
Hello, my name's Clint Fletcher. I'm the treasurer here. I got two things to go over. The first is the simple status of our finances. If you look on the sheet that you have, the budget sheet, you'll see at the top one side says original. So that's what our current budget is. You'll see we ended May at $25,198. June was a very slow month. Income was $629, expenses $52. We ended June at $25,775. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was we are looking at revising the budget. So if you flip over on the next page where it says revised July 2026, this isn't an approved budget. This is just the first pass at looking at that. But before the next meeting, this will go out to all members, and then at the August meeting, you'll be asked to approve that, these changes, or something close to it. You'll see that the on the changes are highlighted in blue, so that they kind of stick out a little bit. I'll just kind of go over those quickly. Some of the things we're looking at changing was adding $3,000 to printing for elections. We're thinking November is going to be pretty busy, and we didn't have quite as much in there as we think we're going to use for these elections this year. We've increased the cost of the picnic by $1,500 and subsequently increased the income from the picnic by $4,000. So you'll see that up in income, picnic fundraiser, and the events picnic there. We also added a fall fundraiser event with a cost of $1,500 and an income of $5,000. And then we wanted to create a separate category for T-shirts, pull that out of the printing so it was more obvious what we were spending that money on. And we also separated the income. We had one category for science and T-shirts. We separated that into two separate categories so we could, again, be more obvious where we're spending our money, where our money's coming from. That's all I have. So, any questions? Very good. Thank you.
I'd like to ask for a motion from the floor to approve the budget as amended. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll do that at the next meeting. This was a presentation. I also want to say that we have changed our thinking about the picnic. We had planned it as a fundraiser, and in looking at the pricing of different places around Pflugerville where we could have it, in order to cover the costs, we would have had to charge people more than I'm willing to pay for a picnic. So we're going to change that format. We're looking at a different type of fundraiser this fall. We're working with some of the statewide campaigns to see if we can't do something that will benefit not a little bit for our club, but also helping those state candidates. So there will be more about that as we move along. And so communications, do you have anything to add? Okay, Jonathan over here, just acknowledge that he's doing a great job. If you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, you can watch this meeting all over again tomorrow. All right, we'll move on to new business. I'd like to introduce Caitlin from the Austin Sanctuary Network. Found another typo, I'm so apologetic. But she had reached out to me last month and asked if they could have a few minutes to speak, and I think it's part of our mission, would be supportive of this group, so I invited her to tell us what they're all about.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time this morning, or I guess right afternoon now. So Austin Sanctuary Network, otherwise known as ASN, is a coalition of faith communities, immigrants, and other community members and organizations in and around Austin and Travis County that support immigrants fleeing violence or in danger of deportation and detention. Unfortunately, that is a reality that we're facing more and more every day. We have various different campaigns and ways that we support folks and people can get involved. One of our most long-standing groups is our accompaniment group. So we take folks that are going to their ICE check-ins, their immigration check-ins. Many of them are down in San Antonio. So we provide rides and support for those folks doing those check-ins. We also have a visitation and letter writing campaign. This is to visit folks who are in detention. This not only helps bring hope to folks that are in a pretty hopeless situation, but it also helps us get information about the inhumane situation that is happening inside of these detention centers, which, if you're unaware, there are 26 statewide in Texas. We also have an education group. We do a Immigration 101, Know Your Rights, immigration history, and we teach various ways that people get trapped in the deportation machine. There's an Alteris group, focuses on campaigns for individuals who have been detained or disappeared. We set up altars in public spaces and fundraise, and again, bring awareness to what's happening around us in our community. There's a film group who hosts screenings, different movies, and we lead discussions that connect the films to these tangible action steps that folks can take. We also have a policy group. We advocate for policy changes and awareness. This is an area that I'm very involved in, and right now we're focused on SB 8. If you're unaware of that, it's a bill that was passed last spring, and that is focusing all counties with a jail around Texas to enter into a 287G agreement. That is making our local law enforcement, sheriffs specifically, state mandated to work with ICE. There are 3 different levels in which they can do so, but we're using our local county dollars for that. Sheriff Hernandez has yet to actually formally enter into an agreement. She's actually one of the few counties that haven't, but that will be happening in December. And to that, we also have an event today that I'm just gonna pitch. It's way across town. It's down off of Old Torf and 35 at the Wildflower UU. It is all around awareness and education for 287G detention and the way it's embedded into our systems already in Texas. It's from 2 to 4. We welcome anybody to join. Additionally, we have a group that is working on commissary funds. So these folks who are in detention are forced to work. They are not paid, but a couple dollars or less a day, and then charged upwards of $7 for phone calls to their families for food. It's horrible conditions. So we have a commissary group. There's some flyers over here where you can donate. That money goes directly to detainees so that they can input into their commissary funds. We also have, in addition to our educational forum that we're hosting today, afterwards at 6 p.m. at the same location, the Wildflower Unitarian Church off of Old Torf, there will be a vigil for Lorenzo Aranjo. It's about a 1-hour program, and then bringing community. So it's a vigil. It's posted by a group of community members and organizations, and we hope y'all can join. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have a few candidates here. I'd like to give them a moment to introduce themselves and maybe tell us a little bit about their campaign. One person that I just met is Alexandria Anderson, who's running for District 1 in the city of Austin. And you're saying, wait a second, we're in Pflugerville. Well, Austin has these weird little, like, forays into our area. And she has at least 2 neighborhoods that are in the greater Pflugerville area. I know our school folks will know that because of where some of our schools on the southern side are located. But Alexandria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Carol, for this invitation. I had the opportunity of meeting her at Samantha's event. For those who do not know me, my name is Alexandria Anderson, and I'm glad to be in here in Pflugerville. I didn't live too far away from here after college, living off of Palmer Lane. A little bit about myself. I've been in Austin now for 21 years. Had the opportunity of attending the University of Texas, where I was able to receive a scholarship to go run track there. Been in Austin, loved Austin, knew that I was going to make Austin my home and stay here. And then after retiring from running for Nike for 8 years, had the opportunity of buying and moving over in East Austin. And so for me, as you guys have known, East Austin has a beautiful yet challenging history when it comes to the area, especially those individuals that are Black and brown. And so for me, getting involved in my neighborhood has something that has been embedded in me from a young age. My parents are involved in their neighborhood. My dad is vice president of his neighborhood association. I currently serve as chair of my neighborhood association. And so I've been doing the work now for over a decade when it comes to affordable housing, when we're looking at green infrastructure, when we're looking at public safety, but also too when we're looking at how just our city is growing and who our city is growing. And so a little bit more about myself. I currently serve as chair of my neighborhood association, the MLK Neighborhood Association in Austin, that's in East Austin. I am co-chair of my contact team, which deals with development. So I'm always advocating for deeply affordable and attainable development, especially for those individuals who have lived, born and raised in East Austin and are currently being displaced. East Austin, if I want to say in the city, has the highest rate of displacement when it comes to the people that are living. And a lot of those people are moving up here to Pflugerville or in Northeast Austin. I also serve on 2 commissions for the city. I'm chair of the Commission for Women and also the chair for the African American Resource Advisory Commission. And so me getting into this position to run for office was being able to see what is happening specifically in the community around the entire district, and also seeing what is being pushed in place in policies in city council, and understanding the disconnect and the gaps, but also the opportunities that we have and the potential that we can see for our district. So I'm excited about running for city council. I'm not new to this. As I think Sam has shared earlier, her run was a lot of people. So is it currently right now for District 1. So I'm excited about coming up here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm excited about coming up here in Pflugerville and getting more involved in this district. I can speak from experience and understanding and having friends that live up in this area. A lot of times when people are thinking of District 1, they're only thinking of Central Texas. So you're thinking of 7th Street, I-35, 290, 183. But this district is vast, y'all. It goes all the way up to Wells Branch. It goes past 130, all the way down to 7th Street, and then I-35. So in that massive area, you have more of a rural suburban area type past 183. You have more of your center city, which is where I live in the district. And you're also dealing with highly, I know Pflugerville is diverse, but District 1 is very, very diverse when it comes to race and socioeconomic levels. So as someone who has been embedded in her community, not just specifically where I live, but in this district, I'm excited and I know the knowledge and I'm ready to come up here and tap in and think of too how Pflugerville and Austin, especially those districts that are touching each other, how we can collaborate more. What does that look like when we're looking at regional stuff? What does that look like when we're dealing with more of the issues that are affecting both of our areas? So I'm excited to see you guys. This is not the last time y'all are gonna see me. I'm excited to come and knock in your door, support candidates who are running in this district as well, and knocking doors with them as well. But it is Alexandria for Austin at .com, and then Alexandria for Austin at the different social media platforms. And I'm here to chat with you guys afterwards, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak. And let's do this.
We also have two folks who are already trustees but are running for re-election. So going in alphabetical order. Siobhan.
How are we all feeling this afternoon? Yes? Are you motivated? Yes. Excited? I hope. We have a lot of work to do in our district, and we are not alone in the challenges that we've been facing as a school district. But what we do have is we have a powerful board, and we have an incredibly involved and invested community. And so while we have been going through these impossible decisions and sacrifices that we have to make in order to best serve our kids, I'm also confident that we can get through it together. I'm confident that we have a board that is willing to do the work. And even if we don't always agree on exactly how to get there, we get the job done. And so my ask to you is to remember that this is the first time, aside from 2020 during the pandemic, that our school board trustees are on the ballot in a November race. And that is incredibly challenging because people get tired. They get exhausted of hearing from different candidates. They think about the top of the ballot. And then by the time you get to the bottom of the ballot, you may not remember names. You may not remember why it's important to vote. But what I want to remind you is that often your city council, your local school board, those folks actually impact your day-to-day lives more than a lot of those names at the top. But they're all equally important. And so we need your help to make sure that people vote all the way down the ballot, that we are able to come to the event. So please come out, invite us, tell us what your concerns are. We listen. We want to know how we can help. And please know that I think so many people in our community are already educated about the why behind our current struggles, the lack of funding from the state, the unfunded mandates, the attacks on curriculum, which, by the way, every time you redo curriculum, what does that do? It costs money, and somebody's behind that money as well. And so then when you have that inaccurate curriculum, you spend more money to fix it. And so the attacks on our teachers, the lack of compensation, benefits, retirement without an automatic cost of living adjustment tied to all of those things, those are all by design. And I want folks to be careful, because when we are having these pre-ledge committee hearings and you're hearing some of the leaders at our state level talk about how surprised they are that the funding isn't flowing in the way that they had voted for. And wow, they really didn't know that was happening. So this next ledge, we're going to correct it. And now Governor Abbott, just like the last time right before this election, is going to create a teacher task force. And we're going to do right by public education again. So my question to everybody who believes that is, why now? Why right before your election are you willing to hear from our educators? Why now are your state leaders telling us that they're going to do right by our teachers and by our students, and by students who, by the way, are also living in fear of being detained, of coming home to a family that's not there? Those are real issues that our students are dealing with. And we have countless students who are hungry throughout our summer, but we still have a governor who refuses to take their federal food programs throughout the summer. That's by design. So as much as I want us to have hope in our abilities to accomplish everything that we believe is powerful in order to serve our educators and our students, don't let other people buy the hype. Don't let them buy into that propaganda that someone's going to finally do right by us. They've had 30 years to do right by us. And so I ask you, please go up and down the ballot. Please support candidates all around Central Texas, not just Pflugerville, not just our county, because it's going to take a group effort and everybody has to show up. So invite us to your events, come out, support, have those conversations. I think the most surprising thing that I experienced when I moved to Texas was how difficult and taboo it was to discuss politics. Because in other parts of the country, that's something you talk about every day. You learn to have a discourse with each other about why I agree with this and why I don't support that. And I think that that has helped build kind of where we've gotten in our state. So have those talks. And if you're unsure where they lie on some of the culture wars that everybody likes to get really heated over, focus on affordability. Focus on, do you feel like your public schools are stronger now with them in power? Are your groceries more affordable? Is your housing more affordable? Is your healthcare more affordable? And if you can't answer yes to all of those things, you're with us, regardless of party, because our kids are not politics, they are people and they're our leaders. And so I look forward to working with everybody to make sure that we make that change for our communities. Thank you.
And now another candidate who's also a trustee at the moment, Jean Mayer. And continuing, I'm sure.
Well, this has been a powerful day. Lots of very strong discussions, very important discussions. So I have been on the school board for 6 years. I was elected, I was part of that interesting little cohort of school board elections that took place in November during COVID. So I have been migrated and navigating where we are in public education in very high stakes, mission critical moments for the past 6 ongoing years. And moving the needle and pulling the changes of lever under those conditions are incredibly arduous and very hard. It takes a very strong level of commitment and dedication and devotion to learning governance. And that's what I'm mainly guided by, to doing things with fidelity and building trust through that. Ceasar had spoke earlier about our children. Both of our boys are autistic. They are disabled. Out of our 5 children, 2 of them have 504s and 2 of them have IEPs. I'm a fervent disability advocate. I currently serve on the Autism Society of Texas board for the entire state. I have a podcast called Moms Talk Autism. I've had that for the past 4 years. And I am now the executive director for the United Partners organization here in Pflugerville. It is an adult day program for adults with disabilities. So you can see where my passion is all tethered to this work. Disability intersects with every single group. Every single person intersects. So when I say I work and I'm invested in all, that is it. I believe to my core that to make things better in this world is to make sure that we are building with those with the greatest barriers in mind, everywhere. When you do that, and I mean build with, not just, oh, come on and invite them in. It's building with it in mind. And that is where the difference lies in that. And that is a hard shift to make, especially with where we are in the world. And if you see what's happening right now, and it's Disability Pride Month. This is the July 26th is when ADA was passed. Famous walk or the crawl up the steps happened this past week. These are important moments in history that signify change that is currently being rolled back. And the current administration is very focused on back to institutionalizing our children's and our individuals not being able to live in our community. So you can see what is at stake. There are very important, critical things at stake here. And being on the school board is part of that work. We have a 3 E's promise. enrollment, enlistment, or employment. That is our North Star goal out of all of our strategic goals. And that word enrollment is not just those for post-secondary. That means that every single child, 100% by the year 2030, we are saying they will have a place in this world, in our community. So I intend to hopefully stay on to help steward us through that and see that through. And also in my professional life, I'm also working on that to make sure that we are ready to receive that here in our community and that we can do all of that together. And so I hope that, if nothing else, I truly am, that is authentically who I am to my core. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. And I'm very passionate about what we need to do as a group and as a community to make a difference here in this coming November. So thank you very much for your time. Oh yeah, my fundraiser is tomorrow. I forgot because I didn't organize it. The great thing about having community is that community is organizing that for you. Tomorrow from 4 to 6 at the Black Hawk Amenity Center off of Spidell, having a fundraiser. And if you aren't able to make it and you want to contribute to the campaign, you can contact, there's a QR code. It is linked to my phone number. So for anyone, and anyone that has my personal information, you are welcome to share it with anyone else. So I'm accessible to you. So thank you.
And we do have another candidate that we've already heard from, but Ceasar will all be working for you as well. And there's a candidate who's not here, but there's a sign-up sheet back here for Claire Reynolds, who's running for CD11. The gerrymandering is, I'll use that wonderful word from Rudy today, repugnant. But the silver lining is that Pflugerville is all in the same congressional district for the first time in decades. So we're all in the same boat together now when we're supporting Claire Reynolds. And because of the coordinated campaign, Pflugerville definitely will be putting out literature for Claire, but her campaign is also doing some of its own work. So if you wanted to sign up for that separately, there's a sign-up sheet on the table. Running through some announcements quickly because we're getting to the end of our programming. I just wanted to announce that the Pflugerville office, which is right almost next door, there's a building in between, but at 902 Old Austin Hutto Road, that office is semi-open right now. It will be definitely open sometime within the next week to 10 days. Jonathan is going to be our coordinated campaign leader. And so we're really excited about that. Postcard writing will start as soon as I get the postcards. So that's going on. We're also going to be doing door knocking every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. starting from that office, and every Saturday morning starting at 10. Phone banks will be announced, and we're thinking of something like Tater Thursday or Wings Wednesday or something, which is to let you know we're going to have some food there too. Yes.
Maggie Ellis, who is an important judge.
Right.
She's here a while ago, but she didn't get a chance.
She had to leave for another engagement, but yes, thank you for reminding. Well, Maggie was she was endorsed by this club for the primary, so she definitely is one of our endorsed candidates. And now that the primary is over, every Democrat on the ballot is an endorsed candidate. So thank you for that reminder. Any other quick announcements? I know Lolly has brought some of her great campaign material that she works on every election. And so she has that to share if you want some of that.
We won't be doing lunch today because I know a lot of people will be going to the service for Danae. Okay, so just announcing that we won't be doing lunch. And then Carol will give more information about that. And then also, wanted just to highlight that we will restart our monthly socials in August. We don't have a date yet, but it'll come out in the newsletter, it'll be on our website. I'm assuming this will probably be a little bit later in August, but candidates take note, that's a good time for y'all to come out and meet with people in a more social setting where they can really talk to y'all, ask questions, that sort of thing. So keep in mind that we will be restarting those.
And to talk about next month, August 8th, we're going to be highlighting our Asian community. Again, when I use that word community, that is writ large, not just one specific group. And so that we will have Texas Representative Gene Wu here at that point. He is the head of the Texas Democratic, the delegation within the House. And before we adjourn, I would like us as a group to please stand, and we'd like a moment of silence for somebody who is very special to this group and to Democrats all across not only the county but the state. We will sorely miss Danae Barcelona, so if you would take a moment of silence to think about her and her family. With our thoughts to your soul, Danae, thank you for being part of us while you were here. Thank you all for thinking about her and her family for a few moments. There will be a service for her today at the Unitarian Church, and that starts at 2 p.m. If you want more information, Tammy and I have that. And while you're all standing and ready to go, I will accept a motion for adjournment. Tiffany, a second. There we go. Scott, and do I hear any objections to adjourn? So moved. Thank you.